So your head's cut off.
Yeah, it is.
Pardon us as we get adjusted. There we go. Yeah, you're mostly in the frame. You're too tall. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. So this is going. We don't have to worry about headphones, but okay. I'm just learning the controls. No, I don't want to do that. I just want to make sure though that our audio quality is good, that it's recognizing the microphone. I don't know if that's going to help. We're not going to hear back ourselves.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So if you're out there.
Yeah. We don't have anybody yet.
Oh.
There's people, there's likes. We have none because it's actually 3 minutes before we're supposed to be doing this. Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Woo. Hi. So yeah, I hope this is, I think it's okay. I hope it's okay. We'll have our people know. Let us know.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey, John Bowerstocks is here. What's up, buddy? Can you hear us okay? Let us know. We're trying to figure this out before we officially go live. Let's see what he says. So I'm going to move this over just a bit.
Yay!
You can hear us loud and clear. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, very awesome. Good. Does it sound like it's coming through the good mic or computer mic? Let us know that if you would, please. Since you're the one person here, you get to be the guinea pig helping us troubleshoot. Sorry, not sorry. So this is kind of handy. There's the chat box right there. Da 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 da. Okay. And we got 2 minutes. Hooray, hurrah. See if what John says. Get going on the breviary a little early tonight. Because why not?
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Me too.
Coming from the computer mic, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. And at this point, I don't know how to fix that. That's freaking great. Oh, it would help if the damn thing was plugged in. FML, dude. Okay, how about now? Does that change anything? God damn it. Yay. This is why we started a little early.
Right.
Yeah. New technology. Sure. I've never done YouTube live before. So thank you, John. Thank you for all of your input. Hey, Terry Rose. Hey, Terry. We're just about to get started. We'll give people 1 more minute and then we'll officially get going. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for coming over from the Facebook group. Those are Zcast folks.
Yeah. Hey. Good to see you.
Yeah, we get to do an epic crossover today. It'll be a good time. It's all B5, so it's all good. All right. Easy. I'm not a mic expert. All right, fair enough. We'll do the best we can with this. As long as you can hear us, then you know what? I think we just got to let it fly. It's very live. It's very raw. Norm usually does the driving because it's the Be Live software we use. It's in his account. He has to do it. So I often don't get to see the chat box and control everything. And yeah. All right. So it's 7 o'clock. Shall we get started? You backing out now, really?
I'm out of here.
No, you're not.
Dang it. Okay.
Nope. I dare you to run away. I dare you.
No, I'm actually pretty excited. I'm really excited to be here and be a part of this. Yeah, let's do this.
All right. Okay, so cut time. Hello, everybody! Welcome to an epic Zocalo and Babble for 5 crossover vidcast. Yes, we are covering both. This is a little bit of a very special episode for Babble for 5, because we normally do, like 5 minutes, or at least 5 minutes of footage that you get to see in the finished episode. We actually record about 10 to 15 minutes, but yeah, this is going to be an hour where we're going to do a season 1 wrap up. We're going to talk all things season 1, and we're going to do it with the perspective of somebody who's seen not a whole lot beyond there. So please, 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 I beg of you and everybody who joins in, no spoilers beyond season 1. Although you have seen a little bit of season 2, I don't even want to get into the murky territory of possibly spoiling things for you, because I've been very protective of that.
And I appreciate that. And just so everyone's clear, I mean, we've finished season 1 of Babble for 5, which is my first time through Babylon 5. I've never watched it before. And
true noob.
And I got into it because you were into it, and it was time. So well,
let's get into the details of that eventually. Let's talk a little bit about how we started that show, because I think our Zcast folks, they know how Norm and I got started on that show. So we'll talk about that. But let's do the standards, housekeeping, and station identifications. This is the Zocalo cast. If you're here, you probably know that. We broadcast at 7 p.m. every Wednesday night, discussing all things the grand marketplace of all things Babylon 5. And so we are here because Babylon 5 is in a beautiful renaissance period right now, where people are rediscovering the show, discovering it for the first time. And those old vets, as well as noobs, were coming together and enjoying this show. Even though it's 20-something years old, it is just that good. It is good enough to still celebrate it to this day, and we got to keep the flame alive, so to speak. So that is what this thing is all about. And of course, I got to mention our TeePublic store. I'm wearing, we're a little cramped quarters. I'm wearing a new shirt. This is stunning in purple, if you will. Normally, I wear my gray shirt, and now I have a second. Okay. Sales. And so when they did their massive Black Friday sale, I cashed in and said, yes, I'm getting a second shirt because, need I say more? So if you have not gotten a shirt and you want to, sign up for their email list. They do discounts all the time. That's the way to go and get yourself a shirt or a mug or what have you. Save a little money doing it and supporting the show, which is awesome. Okay, with all of that said, I want to welcome everybody who's joined us right off the bat. John Bauer Socks, you are awesome. Terry Rose, also awesome. Coming over from Zcast, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. John says that he can't spoil anything. He hasn't seen later seasons. Well, you got a friend.
I was going to say, it sounds like John and I are in the same boat here, which is pretty sweet.
That is cool. Yeah, so let's make this interactive. And John, tell us how far you have gotten in the show. So that would be cool.
Because I don't want to spoil anything for you either.
Yes. So Terry says, people change like TOS pilot did. How did you feel about that? Did it throw you? Terry, one thing that we need to explain is that he did not watch the pilot, The Gathering. We started on midnight, the firing line. So unfortunately, he don't know about any of that.
And that's her fault.
It was my recommendation, because there are changes. There are crew members that you don't know about who started off in the pilot who are not in season 1. And it just felt like that'd be a little bit of a jumble. Also, The Gathering is a little slow in its pace. It's disjointed. It's not the perfect thing. It is very much a pilot. And I just thought, no, we don't have to. I did ultimately say, if you want to watch it, let's watch it. But you said, no, I trust you. Let's go with that. So that's what we've done.
Right.
And maybe we'll go back and watch it eventually. But
I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan. The plan is to eventually watch the pilot. Once I think I'm going to watch it once I've watched all 5 seasons.
I think that might actually be good, because then it kind of helps everything go full circle. So when we tackle the movies, we'll tackle that. So by the way, everybody coming over from Zcast, this is Patrick Schmidt, my husband, whom I co-host Babble for 5 with. We are doing every episode after we watch a new episode that's new to you anyway, and we go through it, we make a few notes, and then we put ourselves in front of a camera and get your reaction to the episode, condense the footage down to 5 minutes, and then that's it. That's Babble for 5. And so we have a YouTube series, and it's on the Nerd Party. And we started what did we start? This summer, late this summer.
Yeah, it was late summer. It was more or less an anniversary gift to you. And we got married in July. So it's been...
Not this July.
No, not this July. July 11 Julys ago.
Yes.
So was it 11 Earth cycles?
Yeah, actually, yes. According to the Minbari, very good.
So we've been kind of tackling this since July, and 2 episodes a week, and posting those to YouTube and trying. We're taking a little break right now after season 1, just because it's we need a break. It's intense, so we're going to take a little break, and then probably right around the new year we'll get going again with season 2. We've watched a couple season 2 episodes already, but
we've shot approximately halfway through season 2. We've taped the first 11 episodes, but the real thing is editing. And we've upped the ante in season 2. We've got ourselves a blue screen kit, and we're playing with video production, trying to up the video production value substantially rather than just 2 heads, in front of a camera, no real movement, and trying to make it as natural as possible. So we're learning the fine art that is something of videography anyway, a very cheap, quick and dirty version of it, but we're doing it nevertheless. And the editing is a lot more, there's more to it now, and it takes a lot more time. And so we've been really slow on that. But in part, that's what brought us to do this whole 1-hour thing. Not just that Norm is off doing corporate holiday and I needed a guest, but I thought, hey, we ended season 1 toward the end of November, like right around Thanksgiving.
Right.
We released the final episode of the first season at the very end of our season 1 finale that we were going to come back in a week. I knew that wasn't going to happen. And so I thought we need a mid-season break to buy ourselves more time, honestly. So the plan is to come back in the new year with new episodes and then moving forward there. I would rather take a long break between seasons rather than kind of have a crash and burn in the middle of the season when life gets really busy, and because it always is. And like, oh no, we can't release an episode. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Nah, let's not and say we did.
Well, and just a little bit of background. I mean, I teach for a living. And so this is my busy time, right in the middle of finals, right in the middle of doing everything. And we just don't have the time to even watch 2 episodes of Babble 5 a week, much less produce 2 episodes of Babble for 5.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. But at the same time, it does help. And I see John talking about burnout. It also helps us keep from getting burnt out. And, even 2 episodes a week could be a little bit of burnout. A little bit of rest every now and again has been rejuvenating, and it's kind of helped me process season 1 a little bit.
Yeah, well, we ought to talk a little bit about that for sure. I do want to acknowledge some of the comments, though. Yes, John, I do remember that you were moving, and we recently moved ourselves, so we know what a pain in the ass that is. So we moved before we started doing Babble for 5, fortunately, but it actually kept us from doing Babble for Us and then pick it up again. Nah, we're not doing it. So, yeah. And, I forgot one very important thing about this thing. Do you remember the salute in Parliament of Dreams with the... Okay, nope. One thing you guys got to know. Patrick does not know names, and he does not know episode titles, and so I propose a little bit of a drinking game. If you can't remember a character's name, you call them something else, as you tend to do on our show, you're going to drink.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Babble for 5 before, there's Ironsides, and there's
and Blondie. Blinky Lights Guy. You know who? You can tell who they
Blinky
are,
Lights
right?
Guy. Who was it? Captain America or something like that.
Wait, who was that?
There was somebody. It was Captain Hero. It was Captain Hero.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have really, really bad name recognition.
Yeah.
I know the main ones now, but so like when Terry talks about Jakar showing up and being a jerk, I know who that is. But yeah, if I can't remember a name, I'm gonna have to take a drink. And like if I can't remember a scene, I think it's fair. I have to drink as well.
Okay, and episode titles, I know you're not going to remember those, and so for the sake of avoiding alcohol poisoning, we're going to not do that.
Thank you.
All right, so shall we salute? This is something we do on the Zocalo. We say, Vow to That was really horrible. My voice broke.
I don't think I can match that.
Try.
What was the word?
Valtool.
Valtool.
Yeah, Valtool.
Terry Rose in the chat used the word.
Yeah.
Valtool.
Yeah, there we go.
Gosh. Yeah.
This is great. Oh. So John says that when he moved, it rained all day. I'm very sorry. That blows.
That's awful. When we moved, it was 105 degrees.
California, and it was 115 degrees. There's some things that I am dying to know, actually, that I've not asked you, and we're going to do it right here.
Okay.
So,
by the way, no spoilers here, but she hasn't told me a thing of what we're going to talk about, other than just, we're going to talk about season 1. And I was like, okay. So here we are.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar to the Babble for 5 format, where I'll ask you some questions. Let's get your input from your perspective. And then as we go along, we've got viewers. And so we'll interact with that and see if they've got questions for us. If you guys out there want to ask Patrick a question, by all means, please do. You already have. I don't know why I had to say that.
Or if you want to ask Shar a question.
Sure. But I mean, this is really kind of, you're my guest. It's about your point of view because you are a first timer. And for a lot of us, that's a semi-novelle concept because we watch this show over and over, with the exception of John. So, all right. Overall, season 1 as a whole, was it worth watching?
Loaded question, because
I know.
I don't know what comes next. I don't know. I mean, I've seen bits of headed, and I think certainly it's like any other season of any other show that I think is worth watching, which is that it's a slow burn. It's a slow build. The first half of season 1 of Babylon 5, I was kind of like, okay, it's interesting, and I see what they're trying to do. But then the second half of season 1 was like, okay, now I get it.
Started
now
to get going.
I understand it, and now is the time to really get into it. And let me say straight off the bat, as early as I can in this show, that I'm not a science fiction fan.
Yeah, that's good to mention. I mean, I've tried to get him to watch Star Trek, guys. I really have. I've not succeeded. You've seen some things.
I've seen all the new movies.
Yeah.
I've seen the baseball episode of Deep Space Nine.
Because I knew he'd appreciate that as a sports fan.
I've seen the Whales movie. And I've seen a couple other movies. I've seen Khan.
Yeah, you had to see Khan. But you need to watch Search for Spock, which is between Whales and Wrath of Khan.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. You also need to watch Star Trek 6. Did I ever make you watch that? I don't think I did.
Probably not.
It kind of outlines a little bit of the end of the Cold War between Klingons and humans, and it's an interesting allegory to the early 90s.
Fair enough.
Might enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Babylon 5 was never on my radar. It was never something I even thought about until she came into my life, and all of a sudden all this Star Trek talk and Babylon 5 talk, and it was like,
I know. Total freaking nerd.
It's a good thing I love you.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? Conversely, I had to deal with a lot of useless sports trivia that I will never remember in my life. And so when you don't remember names, I don't remember sports facts from 1948. I just don't.
Yeah.
It's fair.
And you said 1948 and something popped into my brain.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that was sports. Yeah.
So
at the same time, though, she had been raving about this for years, that it was more than just a science fiction show, that it was politics and oh gosh, what else?
It's politics, it's drama,
it's interpersonal relationships, it's character building, it's so much more than just shoot the aliens, pew pew.
Yeah, definitely.
And it took, there were a couple episodes where it felt like, God, I've seen this before. This is sci-fi. There was one episode in particular, you're going to have to help me with this, where I was really upset with the episode because it ended with who can shoot straighter and who can shoot better.
Okay, there were a couple like this.
Yeah, and those kinds of episodes, I was like, the winner is the one who can shoot the best, and it's like, that's not really what I'm looking for. but those became less and less, and the characters became deeper, the world became deeper, and that's when I really started to get into Babylon 5, was those last maybe 8 episodes of season 1.
Okay, so when it comes to the shooty pew pew episode, did Garibaldi end up winning or did Sinclair?
They were
They were both there.
They were both in the down below, and I think Garibaldi.
Okay, I think it was. Oh, what is that one? It's not Legacies. That's Delenn. The one with Liana. Norm would know this. It might have been Eyes. I'm not sure.
Maybe
it doesn't matter.
Maybe.
But it's the one where drunk again, Uncle Mike. And there's the shootout.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. I knew that's the one you were thinking of. I can't think of the episode title myself. I'll take a drink.
Yeah, the one you didn't like either, because you didn't like the actress. You didn't like the little 12-year-old.
I think that's. Is that the B plot of that one? Yeah, I think it might be where. Yeah, the telepathic girl. Oh, she needed some acting classes. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So, by the way, did you like the baseball episode of Deep Space Nine? Do you remember?
It was cute. It was cute. Everybody's cute.
Everybody is cute. Yes, even me.
It was cute, but it was a stretch. It was a stretch.
No problems. I'll swallow some of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know. It's hard to tell. And the other thing I like about Babylon 5 that kind of separates it from Star Trek is it's not as episodic as the other shows were. It seems, dare I say, much more ahead of its time by being.
It was.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's
serialized.
Serialized. Thank you. By being serialized, by being something that builds on the last episode and leads into the next episode. That's awesome. And I like that about Babylon 5. I like that about other shows that we watch together.
Yeah, today.
I mean, when we think about the shows that we watch together, it's House of Cards.
Yeah.
It's BoJack Horseman. It's
a lot of Netflix, a lot of Hulu, Handmaid's Tale,
yeah, where there's a sequence and you have to watch them in order to get the full effect, and because there's the story is just that deep and that big and that long, and I love that kind of storytelling.
Yeah, well, you're right that it was ahead of its time. Babylon 5 was doing this in the 90s when really, dare I say, the closest thing that did this was soap operas, at least on a regular basis. Serialized storytelling really didn't come into TV mainstream till the 2000s. So, for one thing, that made it harder to sell B5 because it was a 5-year story. And who's going to commit to a 5-year science fiction show? So it was a hard sell, but the concept, Joe Straczynski, he had this whole thing. He has it mapped out even before episode 1 began production. So he managed to get it done, and thank goodness he did. But it was ahead of its time. I don't know. It is a bit of a slow burn. So looking back on season 1, where there are some more episodic things, like, are those just kind of throwaways now, or are there little tidbits that kind of help string you along?
I mean, that's the thing about those.
Yeah.
So behind.
Yeah.
On Sci-Fi I hadn't watched Tron ever in my life up until about 2 years ago. And there was a 30th anniversary screening or something.
It might have been like 35 years because it was just a couple years ago.
Right.
So we went to El Capitan Theater for it. It was a beautiful screening.
Yeah, and it
had a nice print.
Yeah, and then Bruce Boxleitner was there, and a couple other people were there whose names I can't remember. But Tron was awesome. Tron was great. I loved that movie. It was. I shouldn't say I loved it. It all came together for me in the last 2 to 3 minutes. The whole movie was kind of like, okay, I see where they're going. The last 2 or 3 minutes, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great.
It's time letting you know what it is, and then all of a sudden your head, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because before that, I think you're just thinking, oh, is this a special effects spectacle? What the heck? Yeah, a lot of people knew Captain Sheridan as Tron before he was Captain Sheridan. And actually, it had that sci-fi appeal in that sense of Tron fans tuning in just to watch Bruce Boxleitner because, oh, we know who Tron is.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff.
So we've deviated from season 1, though.
We did. So let's get back on track. Yes.
So, by the way, I do have to take a little drink of Bravari for my little Bruce Boxleitner problem.
You better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Okay. Keeps going off and on. Oh, I'm sorry if there's technical difficulties, guys. That bites. We've gotten absolutely no notification if our stream is stable or not. So we're going to go on as if it's just rolling right along, no problems. And I hope that'll work. So apologies in advance. Happens. The internet connection is crap today, by the way, in our house. It's been slow all day. So we'll do the best we can here. All right. So season 1. Standouts. What are some of the things that stood out the most to you overall in terms of like episodes or moments? We'll go talk about characters next.
Okay. Moments. Top moments. I know you hated it, but I think the backstory of Garibaldi's addiction problems.
Wait, I hated that? No, I didn't.
You hated the actress. You hated Drunk Again, Uncle Mike.
Oh, yeah, it was okay.
But kind of the slow reveal of that, I think, was really interesting. I think they were playing around with ideas of PTSD long before it was popular to do so. And that was neat. I really liked seeing that unfold. I really enjoyed getting to know Sinclair. I was not a fan of Sinclair at the start.
Poor leadership, as I recall.
Poor leadership all over the place.
Because he wanted to go out and just shooting gangbusters all the time, and you thought, why is he going out there and doing that?
And so many episodes in the beginning turned on him saying, I have an idea.
Yes.
And that was so frustrating.
Why was that frustrating?
So it was like, okay, so where was this idea before? 2, no one else on your crew has ideas. That means they look to you to solve all their problems. Poor leadership. You got to empower your people to solve their own problems. And then 3, it became a trope. It became a little trope for a couple episodes there of like, we're going to create this impossible situation and he's just going to have this idea to get it fixed. And it was, you see too much of that in just regular TV. So I was hoping for something more, and we got that later. And I was not a fan of him to start. But he grew on me because there was one episode, and forgive me, I can't remember which one.
It's okay.
Where it was about halfway through season 1 where he just like threw his hands up and said, I got nothing. I got no ideas. And it was like, yes, my boy. Now we're talking. Yes.
Yeah. Is that by, what is it? By Any Means Necessary, the strike episode?
Oh, might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good one. Norm loves that one too. And he does not have any good ideas, at least at first, on how to get through this. And he is just, okay, I really wish Earth would handle this one. And they don't. And ultimately he does find an idea because Sinclair's so good at looking for the loopholes in legislation that he finds one and does the very best he can to make all sides as happy as possible. But with repercussions down the line. Yes. So, yeah.
And another thing I liked, and forgive me if I'm jumping ahead, but another thing I really liked, and again, this is probably going to anger everyone who's watching, was the CGI.
Then you better say it.
The CGI.
Okay. What about the CGI? I did. I had to go in with that kind of mindset because it is noticeably different.
Right.
It is.
Yeah, and when I was watching it, it was like, you know what? This isn't half bad. And if you get hung up on the minutia of the CGI, it's not going to be very fun to watch. But if you just absorb it as part of the storytelling, then it's no big deal. And like I had been set up to expect really, really bad stuff, and it wasn't really, really bad. It was decent, and for the time, it was excellent.
Yeah, okay, and it even, I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, but it does get even better as the season goes along. They stop doing some of the more common stock shots of the same angles on the station and stuff like that. I mean, they really do start branching out. You start to see different kinds of movement as the camera moves along a ship or whatnot. And yeah, I feel like they do a superb job, especially given the technology that they have in the mid 90s. It's not the same as what we have today. Yes, of course it's gotten better. Of course it has. I mean, they knew in that day that CGI was going to be the future, and it was the way they were able to get the show under budget. So, you know what? Doing what they could is a beautiful thing. That's how I feel about it. And if CGI is holding you up, if you're not paying attention to the story,
right?
What are you doing watching Babylon 5? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. So let's go to some comments. A little more on Tron. The costumes were awesome. The design of the ship. I think that's a Tron related comment. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I think it's a season 1.
Oh, okay.
John's talking about season 1 here.
Okay, all right. I was trying to look at the timing of it, so forgive me. Yeah, costumes. I feel like they do get better over time, but to start out, I mean, think about Jakar, and it goes all the way down. Like when he's wearing a robe, I mean, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, the makeup and the costumes and the face molding and stuff that happens in this show is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, sorry to cut you off, but the Minbari crests, the bone crests, are a little different for everybody.
Yes, yeah, I noticed that.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I really love about Babylon 5 is the fact that the aliens have their own culture. They have variations within their culture. There's not monoculture like you find in a lot of Star Trek.
Yes, yeah, not everyone is the same alien.
Right. They're not all wearing the same clothes. They don't all believe the same things. There's a lot of diversity within their own culture. There's a lot of friction, just as you would expect there to be.
Yeah, it's nice that it's not human-centric, that aliens have beefs with other aliens and planets have beefs with other planets, and Earth is sometimes the intermediary. And I think that's kind of cool that they're tackling the complexity of the galaxy as much as they can with basically 4 dominant races.
Yeah, essentially, plus a bunch of other littler ones sprinkled in for good measure. Yeah, it's good stuff. So back to the comments. We're talking about addiction. Cool, I love that subject. You all know that. Claudia Christian dealt with alcohol use disorder and uses a program, strangely enough, called the Sinclair method. I kid you not. I don't know how much of a coincidence that is or not, but it's helped her, and now she's a spokesperson for that and counsels other people now, on top of acting and other things. Wow. To help overcome their addictions, which is very cool. Jeff Conaway, he did.
He did?
He did. He
Jeff?
plays Zach Allen in season 2, and that's not a spoiler for you because you know who he is. You've seen him on screen at this point. He was on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. He left us, and let's see, John says, I was talking about Babylon 5 with the space. Okay, yeah. Thank you, John, for clarifying. I'm sorry. And Richard Biggs, I thought he had a heart condition. Now, that's not to say that maybe he had a little too much at a party and then that interacted with whatever was going on with his heart. And he too is dead.
Who's he?
Dr. Franklin.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He was one of the first to...
So can I talk about Franklin? Would that be okay?
Oh, yeah. Talk about Dr. Franklin, because you've got some issues with him, too.
I have issues with Franklin. And if you've watched Babble 5, you know this.
Okay, well, tell our Zocalo listeners.
Franklin, to me, is a little creepy and a little weird. And I think he's got a martyr complex. I think he wants to die, maybe a little suicidal. Willing to put himself on the line for things that are kind of questionable.
Okay, what makes you say that?
There were several episodes in season 1 where he kind of just showed that, and the machine that sucks life.
Oh,
That was season 1, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the very end of season 1, the capital punishment device that Dr. Laura was using.
Yeah.
I call her Dr. Laura.
Yeah, Dr. Laura was using this punishment device or life-sucking alien device. And all of a sudden he's like, no, hook me up, and it was...
Well, no, that was season 2.
Oh, was that? He hooked himself up.
For Garibaldi,
But it was just a little weird, just his approach and his, I don't know. At the end of that season 1 episode, though, I do remember it was like, "Now that I've taken this machine away from your mother, lady, how about a date?"
It was a little creepy how he came on to the doctor's daughter in that episode, yes.
Yeah.
Franklin, I think, has some issues with how to get girls and dating.
Interpersonal stuff is not his strong suit.
Certainly not in season 1. He does not have a whole lot to show for himself, and it's not positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The other big Franklin episode was Believers, which well, that brought out a heavy sigh.
Heavy sigh from this guy, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like the episode. It's our Kobayashi Maru of season 1.
Yes.
It is not winnable, no matter how many times you slice it.
Correct.
And I don't know, I gained a little bit of respect for him in that episode, but I also lost it a little bit, you know.
That makes some sense.
You know, he did what he could, but he also went beyond what I think a normal doctor would do in respecting his the wishes of his patients. And you would think somebody who's interacted with so many other species from so many other planets would have more respect for the wishes of others as opposed to
instead of believing that he is right.
Right. Yeah, somebody who thinks they're right all the time generally isn't, and nobody is right all the time. And
it's true. And he learned that lesson hard.
And he thinks he's right all the time.
Yeah. That is an episode that we dissected in 2 parts, Norm and I, for Zocalo, because you can really, really get into it hardcore. Is anybody's point of view correct?
Right.
Are there any winners in here? Are there any losers? I mean, really coming down to the conclusion of it, no.
And I remember, this was not in our Babble for 5, because we cut it out, but she put me on the spot.
I did.
She said,
I did.
She said, "Did Franklin make the right decision?"
I did. I said that. I wanted him to take sides, and he wouldn't.
Nope. And I refuse to take a side now, because that's not my call to make. But so we cut that out of the episode. But But at the same time, it did create, I think, a very interesting discussion point. And
certainly. I mean, this episode definitely. It's been kind of one of those debated episodes ever since it came out in 1994. It still heats people up, gets them all riled up. And as John mentioned, there's a nice big discussion about it on the Facebook group in the Zocalo, as well as our episodes. So this episode is still getting talked about to death.
Which, I mean, in the long run is probably the sign of a good episode.
Oh, for sure.
And it is a good episode. And you have that 42 minutes of this for that 5 minutes of backstory that's going to move everything forward.
Yeah, I think
it was the best of the episodic pieces of season 1.
I do agree with that, because I do think that Franklin gets a lot out of that experience. So for his sake, it's both kind of like, it's horrible at the time, but I think it's very good for him in the long run.
Sure.
So what about favorites? Was there any, like we talked about favorite moments, any episodes in particular? I know you don't know names, but did any one stand out as your favorite thus far of season 1? Do you have one?
I mean, there are great moments, and that's what I'm kind of leaning on. And I don't know if I have a favorite episode so much as I have that favorite arc where things just kind of ramp up at the end of season 1.
Okay, let me reformulate the question and ask, is there a specific part of the arc that you like the most as it developed in season 1? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Okay. You know what? And we've talked about this before on Babble for 5, but we have not talked tonight about Delenn. And
Delenn is kind of a loaded thing for you, isn't it?
How much I really, really in season 1 don't like her.
This is, for the record, it's due to the episode Legacies and what she does, believing that she is right, doing what is right with their fallen hero and yada yada.
Yes.
Yeah, you've watched the episode. I don't need to recap.
Yes. And so the whole thing with the Delenn was she went from being a very neutral character to somebody that I really had a dispassion for, and somebody I really don't like. And into season 2, not to spoil anything, it's changing a little bit. as we move forward in season 2 to this point. But at the end of season 1, she was definitely the most hated character. And perversely, it was fun to watch that. It was fun to feel that. It was fun to feel that hatred come out of me that I didn't know was there.
So you loved to hate her in season 1?
Yes, yeah,
oh,
she was.
Okay.
It was fun to watch her and be like, okay, how are you trying to manipulate us now?
It's true, because you really thought that there was something going on where she's guiding Sinclair somehow. What is her real motive? Don't really know what that is. And then going into season 2, stop me if I'm wrong, but your feelings are changing a little bit.
It started to change a little bit with the beginnings of season 2, and
right.
But in season 1, she was that character that became the focus for, I guess, my doubts, and I was able to bring that to every single episode where I was just like, I don't trust you. I don't like you. Let's see you try to win me over. Or try to prove this
right.
gut feeling right that I shouldn't trust you. And so that's been fun. Like I love to hate her and I love to see her kind of develop.
It's going to be really interesting going forward what you think of that character and how, as things change, whether you change.
Yeah.
And like, are you going to love her one moment and hate her another? Or are you going to end up absolutely loving her, absolutely hating her? I just can't wait to find out.
And the other moment that I think was really interesting, and that this was one of the best early moments, was the episode where we got to see Ivanova and her dealing with the death of her father.
Yeah, that's kind of an important moment, isn't it? To see her grieve.
It was the first real deep emotional moment that we had on the show, and it wasn't overly cheesy. And I was kind of waiting for that. I was like, okay, they're going to get into some deep stuff here. I know that because she's told me they're going to get into some deep stuff. And when it happened, it was like, oh, hey, they're handling this in a very non-soap opera, space kind of way, non-sci-fi kind of way.
Right. Yeah, her dad didn't become some alien ghost and visit her, and that's how she got closure or some crap like that.
Yeah, exactly. That didn't happen, and that was nice. And it kind of changed her from being somebody who seemed like really hard and really gruff and really straightforward to somebody who actually had a soft, chewy center.
A little bit. And you at the beginning didn't really like her that much.
No, it's the first 3 episodes.
It didn't take long for her to start coming out of her shell, and her sense of sarcasm is, that's one of the things that I just love the most about that character. She is definitely goals for me, just so you know. All right. So what about, in terms of characters, anybody that you are really keeping an eye on going forward?
When John brought this up about Stephen First.
Yes.
And we brought it up on Babble for 5 a couple times, where it's like, when does he stop being Flounder from Animal House? And when does he start being Veer from Babylon 5? And that's still not there yet. And I keep waiting for it. I keep waiting for his breakthrough moment. He didn't get it in season 1.
Okay.
But I keep waiting for him to have that breakthrough moment. And it's given me a lot more respect for him as an actor.
Really?
Yeah, it's been like, I'm not really big on actors and following their careers. There's only a couple that I really follow.
Like who?
Well, up until about 6 months ago, Kevin Spacey.
Oh, yeah.
And another one of my favorite actors is Edward Norton.
Oh, yeah. You told me about that.
So it's been, but beyond that, I don't really follow actors. And I don't really watch, it's tough for me to differentiate the character that they play from the person that they are. I'm one of those people.
Oh, God. Okay, so Stephen First and Veer are different people.
Yes.
If you can recognize that, we're good.
Yes.
But it really does bug me, when you go to conventions, somebody comes up to the mic to say hi to Kate Mulgrew. Captain Janeway, I loved you so much.
Okay, I'm not that.
You're not like that. Okay.
I'm not that.
Okay, good. Want to clarify.
They're humans, but it's really hard for me to look at somebody in a new role and not see the old role.
Okay.
And
okay.
they're Kevin Spacey and Edward Norton, who my two favorites. I was able to do that with them. I was able to look at them separately every single time in every single role and appreciate the differences. It's really tough for me to do that for some reason with like basically everybody else.
Interesting. I mean, I've got my handful, I think, of people that I really see that transformation happen. I think Tom Hanks is one of them. But yeah, other times it's you see the actor in one thing and then another, and oh, it's so and so. Isn't she cute or isn't he awesome? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where you like them for them, but in terms of that transformative power, yeah, I think there is something to that. Like the real cream of the crop, they've got some extra quality that just turns it into a different level.
Yeah, but he's been fun. He's been fun to kind of see in a new role because I've only known him from Animal House, which I've seen, probably a couple dozen times in my life. I really like the movie. It's one of those where it's like I like it, but I don't own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it a couple times too, like on TV. Not my favorite movie, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, likewise, but it's literally the only time I ever saw him.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
That he just has that face where it's like he's floundered. He's the one people are throwing beers at when they see his face projected on the screen.
Right.
But he's been fun to watch, and then the other kind of person that's been fun to follow, and I think it was Terry brought him up earlier, was Jakar.
Oh yeah. Now prediction time. What do you think might happen with Jakar going forward?
Well, and we can cheat a little bit because we've seen a little bit of season 2 here.
Yes.
But like Terry said, he starts season 1 as a real hard ass.
Kind of an angry guy.
Kind of an angry dude, and it doesn't help that they're constantly bathed in red light.
It's true.
They look very aggressive.
The